And welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Kevin McDonald, and you're listening to the Satori Show. And Amy Satori has gotten into her chair. She's got her blanket around her. She's got her feelings on, and we're going to talk about a very important topic today. And it's really a topic that a lot of people are interested in, and that's the topic of twin flames. And this is a question and answer session. And so we are going to get into a lot of the different questions that you may have about your twin flame. Where are they? Are they there? Are you with them? And we're also hopefully going to take some calls this hour, so we'll see. So with that, Amy Satori, how are you today?
I'm great. It's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day here,
it's
too,
which
is hard
day.
to believe. Exactly.
It's sunny here. It's almost 70, so it's kind of perfect.
Yes, indeed. It's a sunny day here, and it's going to be about 60. So we're a little bit behind you, but not bad. One of the things I would like to mention right at the beginning is you can go to our podcast, which is the podbean.com / I don't know what it is, Amy. What is it?
It's the SatoriShow.podbean.com.
Thank you very much. You can also go to www.amysatori.com if you want to book a reading or find out more about her. And also, ta-da, we're introducing a brand new forum that we're on, and that's Live 365. Go to the Satori Show, and you can hear all of our shows. Not all of them yet, but you will be able to hear a good portion of them, and you can just let it play in the background while you're doing your work or driving and doing your stuff. So if you do that, that's Live 365, and click on the Satori Show. So with that, Amy, twin flames. Let's give people a brief background of what twin flames are, and then I've got a whole bunch of questions for you.
Okay. Basically, there are 3 types of relationships, sort of 4. But, okay, so there's a karmic relationship, and that is one that's there to teach you lessons. They're painful, and a lot of times they're selfish or narcissistic. But not necessarily. It's like we're all karmics for all of our exes, and just all those that weren't a good fit for us. Those were all the karmics, and they were there to teach us valuable lessons. And yeah, they're great because they teach and kind of train our twin for us. They get them ready for us. So those that are upset right now that their twins are with karmics, it's like, be grateful. Be grateful because whatever those lessons are they're learning from them, they're not going to have to learn with you. So, yeah, have a good attitude about the karmics. They're wonderful. All right, so soulmates. Soulmates are the ones that are really easy, and we have plenty of soulmates and plenty of karmics. Karmics, I mean, gosh, that's limitless. That's hundreds. That's all the people, we have relations with and all that stuff included. So, and then there's the soulmates, and soulmates are the ones that are just super easy, comfortable, hardly anything goes wrong. They've been married 40, 60 years, really don't have conflicts and things like that. So soulmates can be really great. They definitely make you feel loved. You feel loved from them, and it's all really easy. And then you have the twin flame, and there's only one twin flame, and that is a romantic relationship. The soulmate can be all kinds of different kinds of relationships. It can be friends, family, animals, and things like that. But the twin flame, that person is basically made for you. And the theory, and I'm not sure where it comes from, I'm not sure if you know the background on that or not, but it's basically a soul was created and split into 2. They became a masculine dominant one and a feminine dominant one. It doesn't matter actually the sex of them. And so the masculine, both of them strive to kind of balance out their feminine and masculine aspects. And as they kind of grow and mature and get balanced, then they come together and have kind of a catalytic moment where they meet, and it's really sweet and it's really kind, and the person sees in the other person something new they've never seen before, something that makes them really curious, something that makes them feel like maybe this could be something I've never experienced. This could be, something that opens my eyes and helps me to heal some things and maybe helps me trust again. So they have a catalytic moment, and then the more masculine dominant one runs, and they're called the runner. And then the feminine one is the chaser at first. So then they both go through their own series of transformation. I don't even want to go into the details of that right now. If you want to listen to more about all that kind of part of the process, then listen to one of my other talks about twin flames. It'll say Amy talks about twin flames. So just click on that one or two. I think I've done 2 talks on that. But basically that's kind of the gist. There's a runner and the chaser through the separation period, which is what all the romantic comedies are about, is just that separation period before they come into union. And when they come into union, basically they begin a relationship, or, it could be a friendship at first that turns into a relationship, but it's just basically them, deciding, all right, let's see what we got here and start working together instead of developing separately. Let's come together. And once they're in a relationship, it's not like everything's all roses and rainbows. It's like they're kind of a combination between a karmic and a soulmate. And so they'll love you absolutely intensely like nobody ever has before, completely unconditionally. But they'll also really trigger some past hurts. So it's a very healing relationship because it brings up the pain, but it also totally heals it. So, it's a really beneficial relationship. And one of the questions that I get from people, too, is like, should I choose a soulmate or a twin flame? Because they're both so positive, so great. But I usually, in recommending to people who are sitting in front of me doing a reading, I'll recommend the soulmate if the person can't handle working on themselves. If they have a really tough time taking personal responsibility and they kind of are in their heads way too much and they can't handle being able to see themselves and to kind of grow and mature from the process, then I'll usually say, go with the soulmate. The problem with going with a soulmate is they can be kind of boring. And once you know who your twin flame is, that's like much more of a passionate relationship and much more exciting. So if you settle for a soulmate, then it's kind of hard. You're going to end up breaking their heart because you'll want to be with the twin flame, and you may even have an affair or leave them for the twin flame. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to get involved with a soulmate, and I don't want to get involved with a karmic because I don't want to hurt anybody. So that's kind of how it goes.
Now, for those that are listening that are saying, all right, now wait a minute. Are you saying that the same soul can split into 2 beings and enter 2 bodies at the same time? That's pretty much exactly what you're saying, right?
Yep. Yeah, in fact, it's so crazy because my twin flame just actually visited me by surprise about a week ago. It was so surreal. And I'm sitting in front of him looking at him, and I was just fascinated with this concept. I'm just looking at his face, the way he moves, the way he talks, what he's passionate about. And I was just adoring and admiring him, just going, look at him and his power. Look at him discovering. Look at him. And I'm just watching him going, wow, this is me. This is me that went a different route in life, But there was such this incredible connection and rapport and kind of an ease to it that I just felt completely comfortable and at home. It was really neat.
And for those that are still skeptical, let me kind of see if I can't clear it up for you. Our higher self on the other side has got an abundant amount of energy, so much so that our higher self, if you were to take all of that energy and put it into a human, it would basically blow the fuse because there's so much power there. And in fact, even when we are incarnating here, part of our soul power is left on the other side. So we are actually in 2 places at the same time, which is why you can communicate with your higher self on the other side, because they are still in, for lack of a better word, heaven or the other side or wherever you want to put it. And so you can communicate with them and they're there. Now, first question I have for you is, when they split into two, is the energy distribution between the two the same? Does one have more than the other, or are they designed to be the same so that they can come together?
I believe they're designed to be the same so they can come together, but there is an age difference sometimes. So it's kind of rough for the younger one in a sense, because they have to go through so much faster to kind of catch up, or whichever way you want to see that. But this balancing happens. And going back to that concept, it's like we're made in God's likeness, and God is feminine and masculine together. So this is like the twins, I believe, are going to be the start of the new Garden of Eden on the new earth. So, and there's a whole thing that we could go down that road, and I don't want to do that necessarily today, but
okay.
Yeah.
So so I'm assuming then that if this is a true concept, that part of the agreement that was made prior to us coming here is that you are destined to meet your twin flame at one point or another, hopefully at a time when it's right for both of you, and both of you are working on yourselves and trying to ascend yourself, basically. So if that's the case, is that the case? I guess I'm asking, and is that by contract on the other side?
Yeah, and that's another question people ask is, do they have free will? In past lives, they did. They had contracts, but a lot of them missed out, and it wasn't so crucial in the history, and it was kind of like it's kind of hard to explain, but you kind of needed to have these near misses in the past lives to have them have this big yearning for each other, to want to be together. So it kind of created like a momentum in a sense. And so there's even purpose in the times when they didn't come together in the past. But at this time, with where we're at in the planet and coming to this time of ascension, it is essential, and they've already agreed in the contract to come together. So they had free will, and they were given it from the start, but they've already agreed to fulfill it. So if you truly are a twin flame during this time, then you are definitely going to come together, guaranteed.
If that's the case, then there are certain signals and or signposts that have been left for us to let us know that something important is about to happen. What are some of the signs and synchronicities that we should be looking for?
Well, for me, they've been totally insane. I wish we could be like documenting every day of my life sometimes, because it's so much that I can't even write it down in my diary anymore. I mean, and I get like anxiety if it's been like 3 days, because there's so much stuff in those 3 days. I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed out on those 3 days being tracked, But they're sending us numbers. Like every number has a purpose and a meaning to point you somewhere or to tell you a clue. So be paying attention to the numbers that you see. Find out what those numbers mean. For me, I have the numbers mean something that, like, some of the numbers are like what everybody says that they are, and some of them have become something special to me. So I see numbers. It's supposed to be like an individual thing. Just develop your own number system and what those numbers mean to you. It doesn't necessarily have to go along with what everybody thinks those numbers mean, although it's helpful to have a foundation. But you'll be shown that person's name a lot. You'll know where they're, like the city where they were born, or the place that they're from, or where their family is from. You'll get inundated with hearing people walk by and say their name and say, like before my twin came, gosh, everybody, like there would be a customer walking around the store and they'd say, he's coming soon. And I'd look up and then I'd be like, And then I have these cards, talk to me cards, and these other cards called love bombs. And they kept saying, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I get butterflies in my stomach when I'm about to see you. So I kind of had a heads up for a few weeks prior. And I started to have dreams like 2 days before he came. And so like it was like a buildup, and the 2 days before he came, I just had this, one of them was this crazy dream, which kind of sort of came true a little bit. At least it prepped me. And the next dream was like super, super awesome, but I don't remember a lot about it, but it was very, very encouraging. And then I also I work with tarot as well. So those give you some really good clues along the path as well. You'll have like books fall off the shelf and pay attention to the titles or what you open to on that page. But like even with the tarot, I was putting my cards away. I think it was the Tuesday. He came on a Thursday, and I was putting my cards away on a Tuesday. I think I was a substitute reader that day or something, because I was putting my cards away, and the Knight of Wands flew out when I was thinking about him, and I was wondering if he was going to come visit. And the Knight of Wands came out, which is about somebody coming with passion. And it came, just flying out. And so I took that as a sign of, yes, he's coming. And then so I asked, when is he coming? And the Two of Swords came out, and swords represent days. So they were saying 2 days. Well, I thought Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There's no way he would show up on a Thursday. That's just impossible. Like, he wouldn't do that. He'd show up on a weekend or something like that, So I totally disregarded it. And I shouldn't have, because he did show up on Thursday. But it was really funny. My boss laughed at me that day because my hair, it was like a really bad hair day, and I had to put my hair back in a bun. I put if you look at those of you who are on my Facebook with me, like that day I put on my makeup without even looking in the mirror, just as an experiment. So when she found out that he came to visit, she started laughing so hard. She was like, I can't believe of all the days. It was so funny. But we didn't skip a beat at all. I mean, the connection was obvious. We had a really wonderful time talking, and it was just beautiful.
Well, and as validation of what numbers mean to you, this particular podcast, we use a service called Call-In Studio, and the call-in number, the prefix is. When I told you that number, you almost fell out of your chair. Tell us why.
I didn't exactly want to reveal that number, but it's okay. I'm trying to keep as much private as I possibly can. But that was my area code growing up, and it was what he started off using on Instagram. It was a number that he had. So, and there are so many correlations. Like over Christmas. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy too. I just thinking of all of them is like I had a package that was stolen, and an officer with his name left a card saying, to come claim my package. I was like, seriously? Like, his name is not that common. And I thought it was officer and then his name, and I thought, oh my gosh. And I think it was Thanksgiving. I had all these cultural things come up, I guess you could say. These themes for parties were all about like the culture where he's from, and has kind of grown up with. So and it's really rare for the Boulder area, and I got invited to some dance event that teaches the dance from his culture and stuff. And so I was like, what the heck, man? And then, and this is really crazy too, and I wish I had the note on me. I don't have it, but I started seeing this guy over the holidays, and then broke up with him around, I don't know, January, February-ish. And he ended up sending me a Valentine's Day package and this was after we broke up, and I broke up with him. He gives me this card and this whole package that was like pretty much really from my twin. It was a really crazy thing, because my twin actually messaged me the day before Valentine's Day and told me where he was. And this guy that I had broken up with gives me this package, and it has these playing cards in it with the top of the deck being my favorite color, and then it had a symbol of where my twin was. And he writes me this card, pouring his heart out to me, saying, I made the wrong choice. I choose you. And I'm thinking, wait, I broke up with you. I made the choice. Number one.
Yeah, we tend to forget all
about? I was like, what are you talking about? And then he was like, I thought we had a reason for staying apart, but now I see no reason whatsoever that we should be apart. I want to spend my life with you. And all of this stuff that just sounded much more like my twin's higher self than this guy. And I just had to laugh because it was just so perfect, and it was exactly what I would have wanted to hear for Valentine's Day from my twin, but it came through some other guy's message. So I thought that was so funny. And I actually sent him a picture of the playing cards and what they looked like. I was like, I just received these. I didn't show him the card. The card was like, it was crazy. It was really crazy.
No, you probably don't want to go there. But all right, so we've identified that this is a true phenomenon, and certainly is true for you. And so, for those that are listening that are saying, all right, I met lots of karmics. I've even had a soulmate or two. When a soulmate can be a brother or sister, somebody that you truly love, that you really get along with well. So how do we know when we meet that one?
A lot of it is, how do you know when you meet them? I don't know. It's kind of just a feeling of comfort, and it's kind of like they get you, and you kind of feel like you can be yourself with them, and you feel like you could tell them anything, and it's real like sweet, innocent, kind, playful. You feel like a little kid. And I've talked to many twins when they've met, and they all feel this way. They all kind of know on some level. The feminine knows probably more because her intuition's involved and she's used it a lot more than the masculine has. But the masculine, they kind of have this mechanism from what I understand, where they know the minute they meet, pretty much. And but they go into denial and they freak out and they run from it because they know it would devastate them if it didn't work out. And they know that they've been really, really hurt before. They don't want to get hurt like that again. And so they try to run from it and date all these karmic partners just to see if it could be anything else but that. It's like it feels so big to them. It's like destiny is calling and fate is calling, and it's just a little scary when you're being kind of called into your life purpose. So, but basically that's how you know, is like the feminine will get lots and lots of signs and synchronicities as it goes along. The masculine doesn't so much right from the start, but eventually as he taps into his intuition more, he starts to get some signs pointing to her as well, or starts to have some realizations through these karmic partners that I've used my logic long enough. Now it's time to just listen to my heart, that kind of thing.
So now, if you are a twin flame, and I'm assuming that part of the mission, well, first of all, let me ask you, what is the mission? What is the purpose of the twin flames coming together?
It's basically to be really happy. Our higher selves want us to be blissed out and really happy, because it's going to help raise the vibration of the planet and going to help with the creation of the new Earth, which is already created, but, it's going to help fuel it and help to kind of, there is duality still happening right now, and there's like a train track going off to the left with all those that are just still real dense energy, and then those going right that are raising their vibration. And as a collective for the whole planet, as the twin flames come together, it just kind of raises the vibration for everyone and kind of pulls everybody more to the right. So that's it. But their mission varies. A lot of times these guys end up working together. They decide between them, like, what do we both feel passionate about? What do we feel excited about? And then they get to doing that. A lot of times the feminine kind of begins getting on mission first because she's kind of excited about him, and both of them grow tremendously from having met each other. That's another sign. Like, both of you go through like massive major changes in that separation period is what it's called. And she usually will start embracing her own power, stepping into her own power, and seeing what really makes her, what lights her fire, and she'll start going after that. She'll start stepping into that role in her life, and then he catches up with that and then supports it, and then together they do something that they both really feel awesome about. If they don't, I mean, I've seen twins that don't do something together, and they usually kind of get a little depressed. So I tell them to figure out what it is they're supposed to be doing together, because they got to get on it, and then they feel much better.
So what happens when, say, the feminine decides that she is going to work on herself and to be who she can be, and to really try and work on her heart and develop herself, and her twin flame is still asleep to the process? How does that work, or does he wake up on his own?
I'm really glad you asked that, because that is a really big issue. That's what happens. That's called the separation. But what it's like is they are going through the same thing. They are awakening. It just looks different. And a lot of times she's like more evolved spiritually than he is first, but he catches up really fast. I mean, I've heard some incredible stories that the masculine seemed like way behind, and then all of a sudden they get together, and it's just like, it's kind of like when a droplet of water gathers with another droplet of water, and it's like, and it just, how quickly it comes together, and then it's like boom. It's kind of like that. You get the two together, and it catches fire, and then all of a sudden he's not only caught up to her, but he's even like going past her, because she's been sitting there waiting around, twiddling her thumbs. And I tell the feminine, don't do that. Like, keep developing, because by the time he catches up to you and gets up like on fire with you, then he could just like fly right by you and leave you in the dust, because you haven't been developing. So keep developing and keep working on yourself and keep working on your intuition. And he does catch up. A lot of times too, the masculine is dealing with codependency, and he's dealing with addiction issues. So he has to overcome all that stuff. A lot of this stuff the feminine has already gone through. So she's actually going first, in a sense, to help him out, and so that they can support each other. And they're usually really complementary as well. So areas where she still kind of lags behind or isn't doing so great at herself, he'll be doing really good at.